Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I am Gat, your host. A viewer requested this natal chart. I believe it's for a relative, and that's what we're going to look at now. Alrighty. Now, if you look to the left, you see your ascendant AC. That's where the sun was rising over the horizon when they were born in the constellation of Taurus. And you see EP, the east point, where the sun was rising over the ecliptic when the person was born, making this the first house. Now, you also see the sun sign, Taurus. So the ascendant and the sun sign. The rising sign is the ascendant, and the sun sign. And this also being the first house, which also deals with a person's personality. Now, you see the number 17. That's usually the number of the Magi priest. It can also be the number of karma. As well, it can break down to the number 8, or the eighth house. Now, with Taurus, Taurus can be patient. And situations, it just depends on how they feel about the situation. Tauruses are very magnetic. They attract people to them. Many of them have attractive characteristics. Tauruses will be somewhere and people just try to connect with them one way or another. And if a majority of people were going one way, if the Taurus saw that situation in a different way, those people would generally change their view and go with the Taurus. Adolf Hitler was a Taurus, and he was able to sway an entire nation of people into World War III. Tauruses can be very sensual, and because he has his sun in Taurus, see, the sun rules the 5th house, which is Leo. But only thing, when Taurus is in the 5th house or under Leo energy, they can be very careless with money, because they get caught up in the moment. Because Taurus really rules the 2nd house, which is the money house. So that will be one of his dangers. Also, with Mercury retrograde, he's going to have communication problems, and people may have a problem understanding him. So he would have to figure out a way to get people to understand him, because he's going to be misunderstood because of the Mercury retrograde. Now, Pallas helps you see patterns. That little diamond shape with the cross underneath it is the asteroid Pallas. Now, when Pallas is reverse or retrograde, it deals with helping social issues, caring about social issues. But I tend to say it either way. If you see Pallas on your chart, in that chart, that person may be a little bit concerned about social issues. Now, as you can see, Aries rules the 1st house. So Aries can be somewhat forward moving, possibly aggressive. And Aries tend to be very focused. Pope Benedict was an Aries. And if you watched him when he came to New York, his vision was unbelievable. Plus, he did a lot of writing. He's a very focused man. He's a very focused man. And, you know, he would be going through the crowds, and remember, it would be thousands and thousands of people in those crowds, and he would be coming through. And if a baby stuck out his hand to try to touch the Pope immediately, he saw it. He would immediately touch that baby's hand. So that's an Aries vision, a very focused vision. And that was one of the examples I could find, because I know some people are saying, well, why did you use him? Because that was an example of somebody that had a focused vision. That was the first thing I noticed when I saw him going through New York, was his vision was unbelievable, to be that old and going through all those people. So that's an Aries vision. All right. So the Aries is that first house with the Taurus. Now, the reason why I'm bringing the Aries energy up now, you also see Vesta in Aries in his 12th house. And you also see Venus. And Venus rules Taurus and Leo and Libra. Venus rules Taurus and Libra at 7 degrees. It's really this another number, 77, 7 degrees, 7 minutes. So that 19-degree Sun and that 19-degree Vesta definitely does, because Vesta is fiery energy and she's the hearth, but she's the heat. She actually represents heaters and furnaces and a lot of energy. Wherever you see Vesta, this is where this person is going to burn his energy out. And you can see it's in the 12th house with Aries and love with Venus. So because of that, I'm assuming he probably does like to get out. Because it's funny, because the 12th house is a social house, but they usually see it as more inspirational, spiritual, but also buildings. Like they'll say hospitals and things like that. But the 12th house probably could also be, you know, social, just getting around a lot of people. It just depends, I guess, on each person. But with Vesta, it's still going to be kind of spiritual. But see, Vesta is also a sexual priestess. It just depends on what person. But with Venus and Taurus and Vesta, you're going to see a high sense of sexuality. And since the 12th house deals with your past life, that might have been something he was involved with in his past life as well. And something he's going to deal with in this life. So with Aries in the 12th house, they're trying to teach the person to use that Aries energy more to help people. Because like I said, Vesta could either be like a spiritual priestess working with Virgo or the Mother Mary, or Vesta can be a sexual priestess. So to me, that's what it seems like. They're trying to bring that energy maybe from the past life that he may have used in a more inspirational way, a spiritual way. And this is also the house of isolation, and that could be incarceration, but it is a form of isolation, because even Vesta is isolation. So when you see Vesta in the 12th house, there may have been some type of isolation or jail time, or some time in jail involved. Either present life, past life, or future life, or in his past and this life. And he's got the number 25 popping up a lot, mostly in degrees, but I also see it in minute. So the number 19, the number 25, and the number 16. And I see the number 6 as well. When you deal with the number 6, you're more or less dealing with on Venus. All right, so give me one moment. We're going to do 19 degrees Taurus. Cunning, envious, and conceited character. One is evil-minded and uses unimportant details in order to harm people. But such gross malevolence is easily foiled, and as a result, one harms oneself only. Slanders, targeting relatives and friends, bring about long-lasting estrangements. So you see, sometimes this information is written by foreigners, and why am I telling you that? Because like how we would say they say slanders targeting relatives, they meant to say slandering. So sometimes when I read it, it's not that I don't know what I'm talking about, it's that I'm reading it the way they wrote it. So until I read it and see it, then I know I can correct it. But they said slanders targeting relatives and friends bring about long-lasting estrangement. So slandering targeting relatives and friends. So so that was for the ninth. That was for the first house. Because Taurus has to be careful with bullying sometimes. You know, and sometimes the Taurus will mean well. But like I said, the more you teach, like I learned that as a teacher, people are still gonna want to do what they want to do. You know, so you could actually spend hours researching and whatever and really give the best information. But at the end of the day, that person's gonna do what they want to do based on what they think and they feel. So a Taurus might, you know, try to really push that person, but that would be considered bullying. Also, Tauruses tend to put value because they rule the second house, which is money, possessions, and value. But you can't put value on people. Not now. Let me explain. Like R. Kelly had a song where he said, "You remind me of my car." Now, a car is something you may be able to put value on, but you can't compare a human being to a car. You can't put value on a human like that. So, if you know, got to try to treat people fairly. Not they're not possessions, so you can't put value on them like that. Now we're going to do 19 degrees Aries. Cautious, intelligent, adventurous, action oriented, fond of discoveries and travels. Before embarking on any new venture, this person thoroughly assesses its potential difficulties and equips oneself accordingly. Success is obtained in pioneering projects involving foreign countries, exploration of unknown territories, science, and raw materials, such as ore or petroleum. One is very likely to be reviewed. One is very likely to be rewarded for a major discovery in one of these fields. So again, with Vesta there, it's going to be a lot of fiery. With Aries, that's the fires. Then they put the fire on Taurus. So there's going to be a level of spirituality there somewhere. Like the female who I first did the natal chart for, who requested this chart. I was speaking about a female I work with. They say she's very outgoing and very extremely friendly. And I said it could be sexual. And I was saying how some of the stuff she does, she may be aware of it, she may not, but how men might take it a different way. But I didn't know nothing about her other than what I saw at that time. So I recently talked to her a little bit, which is kind of funny because I tend to ask people like what their goals are in life. But I never asked her because I just felt like I could tell she had a lot of power, but I could tell she was very free spirited. But I knew whatever she did, she'd probably be okay. Cause like I said, I don't know her personally, other than just work with her, and I just met her. So she basically told me a few things she wants to do, but the one that shocked me a little bit was when she said she wants to be a pastor, and that one just threw me through a loop. But what I'm trying to tell you is that's all Vesta energy. It can go anywhere. It could be highly sexual, highly spiritual. It could help the poor, help the unfortunate. Vesta loves to fight for women, and Vesta doesn't like bullies. She doesn't like Saturn energy. She doesn't like when it's trying to be abusive, because Saturn is real rigid. So it made perfect sense when I thought about it that she would have that spiritual inclination in her, but she's also going to go through life and do a whole lot of other stuff as well. So the reason why I'm saying that, because you see that here. The 12th house is also the house of secrets, so it might be secret affairs, especially with Venus there. Whatever it is, it's going to be a lot of raw, aggressive energy because of both Vesta and Aries. But he's got to be careful because Vesta is where you'll burn yourself out, either through health problems or just whatever, even getting in trouble. Because, like I said, this is still a house of undoing, the 12th house. And that's why I said Vesta can mean incarceration as well, or isolation. And the 12th house is an isolation house. And a lot of people don't understand. Anytime you're locked up, you're isolated. You're not able to walk around. You can't make your own decisions. People tell you when to get up. They tell you when to move. You also got to be careful. Anything could happen. So you are isolated. Because somebody might say, "Oh, I was never isolated. I was in general population." But you're still isolated. You couldn't walk up the street. You couldn't go to the corner store. You couldn't buy a sandwich. You got to wait till somebody tells you when and where. So you are isolated. And that's what the 12th house can do. So that's, like I said, that's his biggest dangers that we're naming. One thing I learned a long time ago: no matter how big a bully is, there's always going to be a bigger bully. And if it's not a bigger bully, then they'll just jump you. It'll be like 5 or 6, 7 dudes jumping you. All right, so I'm just looking for a couple of things. Right. So number 19 is a prime number, only divisible by number 1 and itself. And it's the first and the last. See, here go that spirituality again. Because in numerology, 1 is the first number and 9 is the last. So there go that spirituality again. So number 19 is a number of completion. And remember, you're dealing with your 12th house. See, your 12th house is like the ending, and your the first house is like the beginning. And they do it with the ascendant sometime, but each natal chart is different. And that's why you have to be very careful when you do a natal chart. That's why I said this is not bubblegum astrology. You should use somebody who knows what they're doing, because it's so much information. You'll find out if you have somebody who knows what they're doing. Otherwise, you just get bubblegum astrology and you just don't know. So number 19 is associated with success and honor. The number can be filled with joy and happiness. Every 19th year, the moon appears in the exact position that it appeared 19 years before. Now, Tanetta Muhammad, she's no longer alive, but she used to write for the Final Call. That is Elijah Muhammad's wife, and she used to write a article for the Final Call called the number 19. So that the moon has a 19-year cycle, and the lunar and solar cycles coincide every 19 years. So you're always going to see that divine feminine represented by the moon and the divine masculine represented by the sun. And that should be somewhere on your natal chart or in your life, or you might get a card reading, you'll see it. So number 19 is the number of spiritual activity in the Kabbalah. The 19 tarot card, number 19, is the sun, and that's what his is. His sun is at 19 degrees. And they keep using the word auspicious. One plus 9 equals 10, but you always break it down. 1 plus 0 equals 1 again. So this will be a ending and starting, ending and starting. And they say number 19 is a masculine number, but I don't agree with that. Again, this is why you need to have somebody that knows what they're talking about. You're dealing with the first and the last. So you're dealing with a beginning and an ending. So you would ask yourself, everything came from the feminine. So would that be the beginning? Or are you saying the beginning of the masculine that came out of the feminine? Or are you saying the beginning of the light that came out of the darkness? So it gets a little mystical there. So you just have to be careful. In Islamic numerology, they give number 19 the value of Wahid. Wahid is one of the names of God, and it means one. In Islam, there are 19 angels guarding hell. That's stated in the Quran 74:30. The 19th year of marriage is bronze. 19 is the atomic number of potassium. I keep hearing about Indiana. Indiana is the 19th state of the United States. Number 19 is associated with Kuan Yin, the Chinese goddess of mercy. So there goes that whole Vesta priestess going on again. That's why I said you have to be very careful to say 19 is a masculine number. I would be very careful saying that. You're disrespecting the divine feminine. She is the most popular goddess in Asia. She said the majority of houses in Asia will have a picture or statue of Kuan Yin. Her birthday is on the 19th of the second Chinese month. She became a Buddha on the 19th day of the sixth Chinese month. Now you notice he has a lot of sixes. I don't know if you guys know who Baha'i is, Baha'i Faith, because I used to date a girl, a female from Baha'i Faith. But a lot of people in the Baha'i Faith with this number 19 were beheaded or killed. It was 19 apostles. The founder of Baha'i Faith was Baha'u'llah. So back then they were killing all these people that would call themselves Baha'i. Not all of them were killed. Some of them did, but most of them were murdered or martyred. So that's why I tell him he's got to be careful because you messing around with the 12th house and stuff like that. Plus he's got that Mercury retrograde. Nevada legalized gambling on March 6th, 19th. And that's kind of funny because he's a Taurus. And that's the 5th house. Taurus in the 5th house. But see, he's still got the Taurus sun. And sun rules Leo, which rules the 5th house. So that whole money thing. See, that's where it gets really with natal charts. Because you can learn stuff about yourself that you could almost try to avoid. Like say, well, I might be murdered. I better watch what I do. But then people say, well, if it's on a natal chart, maybe I'm supposed to do it. Maybe I have to do it because it's on my natal chart. And I hear people say that all the time. And I don't know because I'm like, okay, suppose on your natal chart you're a molester. You just going to go out and molest because it's on your natal chart or you're going to do something about it. Like each person's got to make their own choice because they're gonna carry that weight. And William Shakespeare made sonnet number 19. November 19th is the International Men's Day. March 19th is also the feast day of Saint Joseph, the so-called father of Jesus, however you want to say it.
Sonnet number 19 by William Shakespeare. Devouring time, blunt thou the lion's paws, and make the earth devour her own sweet brood. Pluck the keen teeth from the fierce tiger's jaws, and burn the long-lived phoenix in her blood.
Why that's deep. And you know why that's deep? Because I keep seeing a tiger and stuff. That's another female I work with ever since she came around. But I knew I had some type of connection to her. I kept seeing the tiger since she came around. And now Shakespeare's talking about the tiger. They say William Shakespeare wrote a lot of the Bible. He penned it or whatever. However you want to say it. So you can do your own research on that. All right, and then he said the phoenix, because the phoenix is about death through fire and then rebirth. And I can't play the whole thing because I probably get copyright. I don't know. I'm just gonna listen to the rest. All right, like a lot of times this information comes to me in batches. Like I might get a lot of Pisces at one time, a lot of Gemini at one time, or I might get people that were priests in previous lives or they were connected to priests. So I'm more into stuff like that, like because some people it's just bubblegum astrology and they like, oh, about love and all that. But we all know love comes and goes. It's very rare that love is gonna be. It just doesn't happen in third dimension. It'll happen, but it's not the biggest thing. You may think it is because you just going with feelings. But a lot of these people are connected to like Gobi deserts and priestess, and these people had a lot of power. And you stay connected. Just because you're in a new life doesn't mean it goes away. But what happens in third dimensional, it breaks it so much that you can't really connect unless you really want to. Just like the whole twin flame thing. You have to both want it. The moment y'all both want it, y'all could get past the separation and everything. But they don't want it. And it's like stipulations or, oh, I don't want to be hurt or blah, blah, blah. So those fears become more powerful than the love, the trust. Because see, this is higher stuff. See, all the love, the trust, the faithfulness, the loyalty, you're not going to find that too much in third dimension. It's just a fantasy. And that's why most of your love songs are based on fantasy. Eternal love, I love you so much, or the world revolves around your love, how deep is your love? It go on, but it's all fantasy, just like the movie. See, third dimensional, we rely on games, gaming, we rely on fantasy, television, movie, because we can't really get it in the real world, so we have to do the drugs, the TV, and all that. But when you do your natal chart, you start to find out where you're really connected, because the more you get connected to those sources, the better off you'll be. So I deal with a lot of stuff. I deal with the archangels. I deal with a lot of stuff. And that's why I said you have to kind of stay centered for really spiritual people. Not bubblegum astrology, but for really spiritual people. Once you start to tap back into your source, a lot of stuff just doesn't bother you like it would. And you don't, they're really working for you. I mean, even when you call it, like some people go to, religion or Christianity, and they teach you the same stuff. If you go to like a church that's preaching old school, because they put trust in spirit, put trust in God, don't worry, pray, and don't be afraid, and have faith. But all that stuff is really fifth dimension. Well, higher than, I won't just say it's fifth dimensional, but it's higher than third dimensional teaching. So the reason why I'm saying all this, because this is basically what we're tapping into. This is some type of priestly situation going on. And when you see the sun and you see 19 and all that, it's high ranking. And that's why I said when you're dealing with bubblegum astrology, when you get a tarot card reading, the sun card might pop up. And you say, oh, the sun card, and that means this. But really, that's somebody trying to tell you where you come from. Like that's like a higher message, And that's why even that person, like my brother-in-law is a Taurus. So he's looked into the sun before, and he talks a lot about Venus because that's his ruler. So I try to encourage people to tap back into your real source, because otherwise what you get is whatever third dimension gives you, and it's never really going to be what you would like it to be. And it's always going to come with some type of challenge, some type of test, maybe heartbreak. Sometimes you got to tap back into who you really are and tap into that power. So So I always let people know what's really on their chart. I'm not going to just sit here. Because, you know, it's a lot of money playing with people's emotions, but a lot of people do that on YouTube. I don't do that because I do believe in karma. All right. So that's as far as we can go with those numbers. Second house is just Gemini in the second house. Gemini is a very creative house. It is ruled by Mercury. It deals with communications. But again, you have to be careful because your Mercury is retrograde. So, and with your Taurus. So you may have communication problems when it comes to your money. Because your second house is money, possessions, and value system. It's also brotherhood, siblings, younger education, short travel. It could be a very creative house. But it can also imply things that are short-lived. So you have to be aware of that. But again, that's why you have to watch how you spend your money, because you just can't spend it based on feelings. And when Taurus is messing around with that Leo energy or that Sun energy, it tends to do that. And even your 12th house kind of implies like this is going to be kind of like an explosive, emotional type situation. All right, now we're going to move to the third house. But that's where he has the family. The fourth house, that's Cancer, rules the fourth house of family. So the fourth house is teenage to adult education, land and property, real estate, the heart, possibly travel, and whoever raised this person in a mother capacity when he was young. That's called Imum Coeli. But that would be in the fourth house, and Imum Coeli is also connected to the moon. All right, I'm just looking at a couple of things. But that's where his money is with Juno. That's where his money is with Jupiter. Also, he has healing there and nurturing. So it's something about the third house. And it does go kind of feminine energy with Charis, the nurturer. Chiron healing with family, but that's in the third house. So again, that third house can be connected to a person's siblings. That's usually your brother or sister. Brotherhood, the environment around you, your family. As I said, it's education. So it looks like this person will do well with education, because you see Jupiter there, but it's also going to help his family as well. And the third house, as I said, is a creative house. Could even do poetry, but it's creative. It's an intellectual house, a mental house. But it looks like it's going to be good healing for his family and family relations. So what I'm getting from it is this person will be able to deal with the money problems in the first and second house if they heal with their family. In other words, they got to heal with their family, have communication with their family if they expect to get that Jupiter money. And then fourth house with Leo in the fourth house. Leo's all about fun. That's another creative, very creative sign, Leo. And the fifth house is a creative house. Leo rules the fifth house, but it could be fun, travel, taking risk. So like when you see Leo in the fifth house, like I guarantee if you had the correct natal charts to say people in the Jackson 5, Michael Jackson or something, you would probably see like something with Leo in the fifth house or Leo in the fourth house or something like Cancer in the fifth house or stuff like that. Because that's going to be a family that could be musical, be fun, could be entertainers, stuff like that. And that's probably why you see all that money in the third house, because that's also another, it could be entertainment, real creative house. Now the fifth house is again the fun house, but now you got Virgo. So Virgo's about home and health and small children and small animals. Could be daily activities, service. So let's look at that a little bit more. Okay, now Virgo, because they're saying the same thing about Virgo. Now this is interesting because they said in his 12th house that he'll try to plan everything. That's when I read that degree. They said if he's going somewhere, he would try to, like when I do degree. I'm just gonna be honest with you because I'm real careful when I read degrees because that's what they say. You understand? It's kind of like you might sell products and you're very thorough with what you do, but some of your products may say something. So one of your clients or customers, they might get mad at you, but if you didn't write it, you understand? So I'll take whatever I said. I'll take whatever if I said it. But when I read degrees, that's somebody else saying, well, 7 degrees, whatever. This is what that means. So I can read it. but I don't know until I see it in the chart, because I don't believe. See, my background is more. I'm more like, I came up like growing up in the streets. Like we don't believe it if we don't see it. So when I do natal charts, it's the same way. I gotta see it, but I can tell you what the other experts said. But now in the 5th house, Virgo in the 5th house, they're saying Virgo is gonna want to plan it. And they say in the 5th house, even if it's supposed to be fun, because Virgo's like that. Virgo can be very analytical, but she could pick up small details and stuff. But Virgo is also a priestess. See, what I'm seeing, to be real with y'all, I'm seeing a sun priestess. To keep it, and that's not. This ain't the first time. The first time I seen the sun priestess, I told you these things come in batches. You say, well, sun priestess, but this is a male. But see, y'all got to work all that out in your own third dimensional minds. I can't tell you. I can't explain everything to you because you wouldn't receive it. Like, it could either be the mother priestess that's with him, watching over him. It could be something he was in a past life. See, this is how, like, when you want it, because most people just want bubblegum astrology. And they're not ready for past life and all that other stuff. So they said in his 12th house. See, your 12th house is opposite your 6th house, but your 6th house is ruled by Virgo. But right now your Virgo is in your 5th house. So it's some type of sun priestess thing going on. But they're saying this is in the 5th house, they're going to be somewhat detail oriented, but they may ruin some of the fun because they want to plan everything instead of just going out and having fun. So they say in your 5th house, you want to be creative. You don't want to plan it. You just want to feel it and create. And they say because you do this, you come across others as fake or inauthentic. They say because you're giving too much attention to details, because that's what Virgo does, instead of just letting it happen. So they're taking your 12th house and interacting it with your 5th house because Virgo rules your 6th house. And usually when you study the 12th house, you also study the 6th house because they oppose each other. But then they're taking the Pisces, which rules your 12th house, but now it's in the 11th, and they're playing with your Virgo again. But then remember, your Pisces rules your 12th house anyway. And you're gonna see Mars right there. So this is a lot of aggression, because you got Aries in the 12th house, then you got and Pisces rules the 12th house, and you got Mars and Pisces in the 11th house. So in a natal chart like this, like I said, you really have to be taking notes, because that's how the natal chart is written. And that's why I said a lot of people, they make a mistake and they just want to listen, and you're never gonna learn because you're not gonna hear everything. And plus, it's being given to you in so many different ways. Like this natal chart so far is like when you in a kung fu fight and you trying to fight this dude, and he just keep changing the styles and stuff, and you be like, whoa, how am I gonna beat this dude? Because he keep changing. So you got to really take notes, and really, that's why I say you got to really want this. It's not bubblegum astrology. It's not going to be a lot of ooh and wees and oh. It's going to be really challenges and your past life and why you're really here and stuff like that. All right. Now, a lot of stuff I'm saying about. See, right now we're in the matrix, but this matrix is coming to its end, and a lot of people don't realize that either. Now, old school, her name is Mechalesi. Old school Mechalesi used to teach this kind of stuff. Like if you go back to 2012, 2013, her videos are still out there. Just gotta look for them. She has a different name on her channel, but her other videos are out there. So you put Mechalesi Matrix or something like that, it might come up. But that's when she used to teach that really higher dimensional stuff. And then all of a sudden, in more recent years, she just started teaching about relationships. And last time she came out, that's what she was talking about. And I actually sent her an email and told her, like, yo, why don't you talk about some of that stuff you used to talk about in the old school? And she never responds. So it's funny because, like, some people be atheists in their younger years, and then when they get older, they become like religious. And then some people be religious in their younger years, and then when they get older, they become atheists. So that's just the craziness of the planet that we're on. That's why I know what I believe in, live by it, prove it, so I don't worry too much about what other people are talking about. And I've been doing this for a long time. It's funny. I went to her. She just dropped a new video. This is crazy. See, this is how spirit went. Mechalesi just dropped a video 18 minutes ago. It has 8 views according to YouTube. Time of the video is 7:14, and she says, "Does suicide have place in spirituality?" Alright, I'm gonna pause it for one moment. Yeah, so it's Makalesi, but y'all gotta find out the old channel. When she used to go in, she used to talk about the Matrix, everything. That's when she was really on point. And when she came out, she used to talk about relationships a little bit. But she was more like me. She kept it 100. And then I think she started dating or whatever, and then things started to change. Then she started changing a lot of stuff. And so now that's where she's at now. And unfortunately, one of her subscribers committed suicide, so that's why she just did this video. But it's funny, I just came to her and she just did the video. But if you want to know like that real stuff, because that's where we going. We can really leave third dimension. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And you see it all. Like people that are awake, you can see it. All you got to do is look up all the time, especially at nighttime. But even in the daytime, you see all kind of crazy stuff. But if you ain't looking up, you just get caught up on this, like I said, bubblegum stuff. But what happened to the bubblegum, y'all? It blow, right? You blow the bubble, don't it blow up? So you got to tap back to who you really are and where you really come from. All right. And that's it. So you would have to find an old school Mechalesi. Like if you say Mechalesi, let's say Matrix. See, I'm gonna spell it out for y'all. See, I'm looking right at it. She said, "Why are we in the Matrix?" And she called it a quarantine. It's FICUS. This is the name of the channel. FICUSCOMM. FICUSCOMM. 2 M's like Eminem. FICUSCOMM. Now that's old school Mechalesi going back 6 or more years. And she used to go in. She was on point on everything. And that's why the video that came up said, "Why are we in the Matrix quarantine?" She used to really go in. So that's what happens though, because I got a friend of mine. Like she said, she just had a friend commit suicide. See, when you see people that do that's what I'm trying to tell you. Why? See, I've been like a rock, but that's because I know what I believe. Like I don't play games. Like when you know what you believe, you're not just going to change it. But people be changing what they believe because you're not fully fortified. Because there's no way you know this kind of knowledge and then go back to bubblegum astrology. Because that's what happens when you get in a relationship. It take up all your time. I'm not saying don't be in a relationship. I'm talking about learn your priorities. It take up all your time and you forget all that stuff you knew. And then you talking about like stuff that don't. Why do you keep talking about that? You used to be talking about all kind of like interdimensional travel and all that. See, these are priests and priestesses. These are the gods. You understand? So that's why I said that's why third dimensional was on its way out. And I feel sorry for people that don't realize it. And that's why I'm adamant in trying to tell people, find out what's really going on in your life. Find out what's really on your natal chart, because you're either going to be in or you're going to be out. And you making that choice. And that bubblegum astrology, bubblegum pop. You understand? Well, bubblegum is stick you to a situation and stuff. You know what I'm saying? You be walking minding your own business. Next thing you stuck on the sidewalk or something. All that bubblegum under your... So you be stuck on some stuff. It's almost like doo-doo. Same thing with doo-doo. Just stuck in the doo-doo. So you got to get out of that. You got to find out why you really here and start to adjust your life and your mentality and stuff. Take back your power and get that. Because we got all these videos out here. I don't care how many videos you make. The truth of the matter is either people going to make it together or they not. So you going to have a billion videos about why they don't make it or how to make it. But either they're going to make it or they not. That's not, it's a distraction. But that stuff that she used to talk about, like she is on point. I would have never gave that stuff up because that's more real. And that's what's still going to be around. When all this other stuff burned and is gone, that stuff she was talking back then, that stuff still going to be around. That kind of stuff is kind of like what I would call everlasting. At least it's more, I put it this way, I won't say it's everlasting with it, but it's way more longevity than third dimensional. Third dimensional is a drop in the bucket. All right, so let's keep moving. So there go your Libra again. Now remember, Libra is your Mayat. And Mayat was what Isis used to create everything. Mayat created chaos out of order. Just like you just heard William Shakespeare say the Phoenix. See, William Shakespeare was a very high-ranking occultist. So he knew a lot of this stuff. And all occult really means is hidden. But what happens is you've been trained by religion not to go deep. Because you're in a matrix and they want to keep you in a matrix. So anything that'll wake you up and tell you who you really are, what you're connected to, they're going to tell you, oh no, that's it. Boogeyman. Oh, that's evil. God hates you. Oh, if you go any further with that, God going to kill you. But the truth of the matter is, just like there's good in this world and evil, any world you go into is going to have good and evil. Every world, you got to know how to tap. You got to know how to connect in. And once you start realizing who you are, that's where you take your first step. But anyway, here we go. Now, this is the twin flame stuff. This is the twin flame stuff. House number 6. The opposite of house number 12. So house number 6 is Libra and Virgo. With the vertex. That vertex cross is a significant event in your life that's going to happen, already happened. Significant meeting, significant breakup, a fated event. Could be your twin soul. Your twin soul, same soul, different body. Now, all this information will be in a free report that he's going to get. But it could also be a soul mate. And that's anybody in your soul family. So it's either your twin soul, which is your twin flame, or your soul mate. But here's the problem in the 6th house. Both Virgo and Libra tend to be idealistic. Which means they see the world a certain way. They see relationships a certain way. And what happens is when they get hit with reality, they tend to withdraw. Now, Virgo can be very critical. And Virgo has to be careful because Virgo likes to criticize, but Virgo can't take it when somebody criticizes them or gives them a reality check. But Libra can be kind of like that too. Libra will try to start to withdraw, which isn't good for a relationship, because then what happens is Libra might start showing more attention to a guy that he or she works with and not the person they're in a relationship with. And that really sucks, depending on how emotional you are or stuff like that. But that can really suck because they don't even tell you what you did that made them pull away. So what I'm trying to say is, the 6th house is opposite to his 12th house because that's what it's going to be about. That's why you see Virgo right there. Remember, Virgo rules Taurus and Libra. So this is some type of twin flame priestess love story going on. So now, Libra can be relationship, partnership, the law. Because I keep telling you about the law, and I even mentioned that in the 12th house. So yeah, I definitely see legal issues here, especially with Vesta being isolation. And the 12th house, I definitely see legal issues. It could be open enemies. I think it even has something to do with cemeteries, the 7th house. Because your 7th house ruled by Libra is in your 6th house, which is home, family, service. And that's what I say. Like if you get locked up, they say, how much time did you serve? Service, health, healing, small children, daily activities, small animals. So 21 degrees Libra. Neglectful, unwise, unrealistic character. As one readily flaunts one's wealth, one is bound to be taken advantage of by friends and relatives. And they said that earlier in the reading. However, since one is intelligent and hardworking, one manages to be successful and to achieve power. All right. Now, as you see, as soon as you get to the 7th house, which is going to be all the relationship, everything picks up. So before we do that, now we're going to go to the 11th house. And ironically, well, we're going to look at Mars and Pisces. But remember, your 11th house is about friends, association, and groups. Basically, people around you at the end of the day. And because Pisces is there, it's going to be somewhat spiritual, somewhat inspirational. But again, Pisces rules the 12th house. And you got Aries in the 12th house. And so it just seems like it's going to be complications as far as people and relationships. But we're going to do Mars and Pisces. It's ironic because Astrology Club doesn't do Mars and Pisces. That was what threw me off. I thought that was going to be just simple. You know, I thought they'd be the first one to pop up. Just give me a moment. Whenever I see stuff like that, it's for a reason. All right, it's going to be always astrology.com. Says this person will be gentle and mild. They get to the point in a roundabout fashion. They tend to go with the flow. They prefer to let life just happen. They need a way to express themselves creatively, or they can create quite a mess through indirect aggression. So that's interesting. Indirect aggression. So a lot of y'all might not know what happened with Prince and Rick James, but this is what Prince did to Rick James, because Rick James was from the streets. So he was in your face. Rick James was in your face type of dude, because that's how street dudes are, especially the old school dudes back then. But Prince was more into mind. He's more like Scorpion, as water signs, and Pisces. He was more into mind games. And like I said, they can create quite a mess through indirect aggression. So Prince attacked Rick James on some indirect aggressive stuff, mind manipulation type stuff, and Rick James wasn't ready for it. But Rick James came to respect Prince because he knew, oh, this dude ain't just gonna take it. See, they thought Prince was weak. They thought Prince, because he was dressing kind of like a woman, high boots and all that. They thought Prince was kind of weak, so he thought he was gonna do the old school bully you a little bit, and he thought he was gonna get over on Prince. But Prince knew how to play games and stuff. So Rick James had to come to respect that Prince ain't no pushover. He might look like he is, but this dude is on some other stuff. So this is this Pisces Mars. You see this going on. Pisces Mars may play games to get what they want, even though they may not know what it is they really want. Their emotions are unpredictable and intense. See, and yes, that's Scorpio. We haven't even talked about Scorpio yet. Intensity. They run on emotions. In fact, they do well intellectually, but they may have problems dealing with physical and practical challenges. And that's exactly what Prince had a problem with, stuff like that. Because you got to remember, Prince was the guy that took on a record company. Prince is the guy that changed his name into a symbol. Mars in Pisces is attracted to the arts and may be very talented. They have and then again, like I said, the Jackson 5. Remember when I said that Leo in the 4th house, I said Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5. And a lot of this is sounding like Michael. Mars in Pisces is attracted to the arts and may be very talented. They have the introspection necessary to create. And you got to remember, introspects. These are people that are kind of like introverts. They kind of keep to themselves like Michael did, so did Prince. Prince went out a little bit more than Michael, but they both were kind of in their own little worlds. And they both were very creative. And you have to understand, Michael has a video where he's standing in the wind. And it might have been one of his performances. But anyway, he's standing in the wind and the wind is blowing him. And it has this real spiritual connotation to it. And all these little kids are coming up to him, hugging him and all that. It had a very spiritual connotation to it, because I keep telling you, this has to do with past life stuff as well. They have the introspection necessary to create, as well as the sensitivity to color, rhythm, and tone. They are often restless inside. Both Michael and Prince were restless inside, while appearing calm on the surface. They may appear to be shy or withdrawn. They are very sensitive to their environment. Mars in Pisces is romantic, though their needs are more emotional than physical. They are very idealistic about love. Sex is more like a fantasy. Their sensitivity helps them be very responsive to their partner. They need a lot of affection. Without it, they feel sex is cold and emotionless. And going back to Taurus is very sensual too, the kind of feely type person. They need an emotional connection to their partner to be fulfilled. Even better, they are ecstatic when they also have a spiritual connection to their partner. They are very sensual, and without the intimacy of lots of touching and romance, they are left feeling unloved. Their imagination is terrific, and they can indulge in a lot of romantic fantasy before they even go out with someone. They are willing to please, but they are not aggressive. They always play it passively. They can appear to be detached or spaced out. They like lots of details when they fantasize, creating intricate storylines and sidelines. They are attracted to those who need their care and compassion. So the smartest thing this person can do is work on creativity, because that seems they're going to be their stronghold, their strong points. But again, this is in the 11th house of friends, association, groups. So this could be a group activity. It could be singular, but it could also be a group activity. Okay, the 10th house is the career house. And it's also, see, he's got the true north node there, and he also has the medium coeli, which is also part of the true north node. Your life purpose. This is your life purpose, which is also your career, which is interesting. But you do see that. And it's Aquarius. Now, Aquarius, again, is about the community, the people, helping the people, teaching the people, innovations. So this is going to be a very innovative person. But if he's always going to be connected to people, like a community of people, some type of brotherhood, some type of friends association groups, possibly family. So we're going to do the 1 degree Aquarius. Thoughtful, brilliant, and pleasant character. All careers in science and ornithology, ornithology are very favored. Success and fame are achieved thanks to a major discovery of principles ruling the laws of nature, or the design of a revolutionary measuring device. One may also feel attracted to the arts and to water sports. This degree often indicates instability, intense sensuality, and numerous but short-lived romantic affairs. Because that's kind of like what I'm saying. But it's still a twin flame thing in there as well. Just like Prince. And believe it or not, you can say that Prince was kind of like an Aquarian. Because he really did bring a whole lot of thought-provoking stuff to the world around him. So 1 degree usually means you're starting it. Like this is a new thing in this life. All right, on your report, you're going to get the 8th house. So you have to look on the 8th house and really read that report because it's a lot. The 8th house is a lot of information. And why I'm saying that, because some of it may apply, some of it may not apply, but that's a lot of information in the 8th house. And if you notice, your 8th house has no planets there, nada. But your 8th house is ruled by Scorpio. Now, Scorpio's in your 7th house, so you got a lot there. So that's why I say you got to know why it is the way it is. Otherwise, it's just it's going to be hearing a whole lot of information that may or may not apply. But you can read that on your free report. I am going to read Sagittarius in the 8th house because that's what you have. So now, Sagittarius in the 8th house is a person who wants to go into the deep of the human psyche, because your 8th house is going to be a very deep house. The 8th house and the 12th house, similar. All dealing with the mysteries, the subconscious mind, other worlds, all that stuff, past lives. So Sagittarius in the 8th house goes deep, very deep. And they even said that. And they go deep into learning what others are passionate about and why. Again, Prince, he focused on sexuality, especially when he first came out. They say this exploration is often strategic in nature. And like I said, people that knew Prince, like really knew him, not just a performer, but he really was strategic. Because he'd just be sitting there. And even the way he would talk, like they would make fun of him. Like, oh, you think you're smarter than me? I'll show you what smart is. Like that kind of crazy stuff, but that was like Prince. It's strategic. Like he's light years ahead of you. And I want to say it again because Rick James was known for, like, you heard what Charlie Murphy said. Rick James will punch you in the face. He was a street dude. That's how he got up in your face. He talked trash. If he played basketball, he's talking trash to you. That's how Rick James got down, in your face. But Prince was on some other stuff. And once Rick James knew what he was dealing with, he stopped trying to bully Prince, because he knew this guy is on some other stuff. So the exploration is often strategic in nature. You want to learn and know how others feel about their money, food, home, and their sexual identity. So you can use that information in order to use it against them, or if you need to, in order to manipulate them into learning or receiving what you want to teach them. See, the 8th house is all about that. Now, when I get to your 7th house where Scorpio is there, I may read a little bit. But the 8th house is all about power and manipulation, but it's about sex, but it's about everything. Past life, twin souls, death and rebirth, resurrection, debt, meaning you owe money, taxes, IRS, spirituality, occult, astrology, numerology. All the mysteries. So it says you are very determined to let others know your intellectual power, to let them know that you cannot be outsmarted. And that's what Prince used to always say. I could pull up an interview right now with Prince when he was being interviewed. And he said it. He said the record company can't outsmart me. He said some shit like that. Let me see if I can get up. I think the dude's name was Travis. Yep, Travis Smiley. Give me one moment. I would love to have found it, but let's see. Because he said it to Travis Smiley one time during an interview. But he told Travis Smiley the record company can't outsmart me.
I want to know why me? Why have you chosen me to interview you?
Because you're a pimp. Look at this watch.
He's calling me pimp. And I'm admitting it. Can you believe it? I'm actually admitting it. But yeah, you know, I followed your stuff. And you're going to be going on tour soon, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
And you've got your album out already. Tell me a bit about that.
The album?
Yeah.
With the new power generation. It's called New Power. So.
All right.
It's
All right, I gotta put this on pause. I'll be right back. All right. So it says you can often use and do often use your knowledge and wisdom as your own best emotional defense from others as well. So you try to prove your intellectual superiority in order to protect yourself from being vulnerable to others, or protect yourself from being controlled or manipulated by others in financial, material, physical, or sexual ways. And that's what Prince did. And that's why he changed his name to a symbol. So he wouldn't be anybody's intellectual property. See, to him, it was a battle of the intellect. And so he was like, I'll show him who's smarter. See, like I said, I don't want to go too off of this, but there's a reason for everything. Like right now we're in the matrix, but when you really study, you find out that like they give you the Messiah, but at the same time the Messiah is telling you the whole time that you're gonna do the same thing I do. You and me, we're one. So this is a Messiah who chose to come down into what you call like a matrix. And what I'm saying, if you really study Prince and Michael, they both went through some of this stuff. Fights with the record companies and mysterious deaths and all kind of crazy stuff. So it's higher than third dimensional, but they're living it out in the matrix. But at the end of the day, the matrix is exactly what it is. It's a matrix. But it doesn't mean it don't hurt. It doesn't mean if somebody smacks you, it's not going to hurt. It doesn't mean that it's not suffering. But some people say that people that really came here by choice. And that's hard for a lot of people to accept. I'm not saying I agree or disagree, but I can see the validity in it. Because the more you study astrology, you can see it. And Prince did all of this. He came down, he did all this group stuff, all of that. That's one thing. Like, don't get me wrong, because Prince may have been around more people than Michael Jackson was as far as in his intimate circles, but he still kept to himself. Like, nobody knew what the hell was going on with Prince. Not Time, not Morris Day. None of those people knew what the hell was going on inside of Prince. And that's why I say he was like a true Scorpio. And now you're learning more about Mars and Aquarius. And one guy that was kind of like his friend was Arsenio Hall. But I don't even think Arsenio knew. So when you look at their music and look at their performances and look at what they do, it's kind of, you can understand that these people, whatever's in them or whoever they are, they're not from third dimensional. Even a lot of stuff, the moves Michael Jackson made were, you can't do that stuff in third dimension. And even a lot of stuff Bruce Lee did stuff that is not defined by science. It's a wrestler like back in the day named Shawn Michaels. He did stuff in that ring you've never seen. As much as people try to compare themselves to him, but Shawn Michaels did stuff in that ring that just ain't. It's not even scientifically, mathematically possible in third dimension. So these are people that either connected to something not from this world, or they may not have been from this world in the first place. They're just here, going through this experience. So that's why I said sometimes when you do natal charts, you'll see a lot of stuff. And some people just say, well, if it's on my natal chart, it must be my purpose to live it out. And I'll be like, nah, I don't think you should live that out. But at the same time, I have to let a person do whatever they're going to do. So the reason why Sagittarius is in his 8th house that he can go deep. See, because Sagittarius is more mature, but Sagittarius is also the higher self. And remember, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So Sagittarius wants to go deep in the 8th house, ruled by Scorpio, to find out all it can. You can call it a search for truth, but I don't really want to call it a search for truth, but I will call it the search. It's willing to go to find these things out. But some Sagittarians only going down in the 8th house. They're not necessarily looking for truth, just like I said. But they may just be looking to prove things they want to know. Or they may believe something and they're just going to go in the 8th house to prove what they believe. This is the pioneer of new thinking and new thought. Could be metaphysics or anything else occultic or really unknown. So they could take this truth and give it to the man, because that's what Prince did. He gave you his truth, but he gave it through the arts and music. And remember, a lot of times Jupiter, who rules Sagittarius, Jupiter will challenge the current beliefs and theology and theories. So Sagittarius in the 8th house is always giving out this energy. But they also say in a form of healing. Now, did Prince really heal with his music? Or did Prince heal even with his personality? Did he heal? And that's, you would have to learn the definition of healing. Because he definitely made people face things that were taboo. But maybe that was healing for them. That's why I say it's a very big planet. And sometimes you just learn how to take in information, but then you have to, let it go wherever it's going to go. Because there's no way one person can control all that information or have all the answers. That's why a priestess is not always spiritual. Sometimes it is sexual, like I'm saying. And Prince was definitely that. I mean, because especially early Prince, he went out of his way. He went out of his way to push it in your face, like constantly. But he also had a spiritual side, too. In fact, a lot of y'all don't know he was an elder, a Jehovah's Witness elder. A lot of y'all guys don't know that. He went out in field service and everything. See, that's that 8th house, because you keep changing. You keep evolving. I was trying to find it to see where he was. They said he was an elder. But definitely got a lot of information. He's a Jehovah's Witness. But I was told he was an elder as well, but I don't know. All right. So there you have it. But that's like I said, Vesta can either be that type of religious priestess, but she could also be a sexual priestess. So you see a lot of priests, a lot of Vesta with Prince, and probably this person as well. All right, give me a moment. Now, of course, it's going to be a very psychic person. Seventh house with the moon and Scorpio. Very psychic person, very intuitive person. The moon deals with soul reincarnation, but so does the eighth house. The eighth house is ruled by Scorpio. It even has a twin flame number 22 there as well with Lilith. So part of fortune in Scorpio. That part of fortune is also called good fortune. Circle with a X in the middle. Part of fortune in the seventh house. Excuse me. All right, so the part of fortune or the good fortune in the seventh house was a person born soon after a full moon. So again, that's what I was suspected. I suspected this would be a full moon person. And I just told you that all deals with reincarnation and all that. In case people don't know, they say you go up to the when you die, your body goes up to your soul goes to the moon, stripped of its memory and is sent back down. But even though they say stripped of its memory, somehow the universe is still always reminding a person of who they are. We live in a very unique and strange universe. I think the whole thing is alive. And I think, just like you might work a job. Like you might work a job where they say, well, this is what we're going to tell the people. But even though people know they have to work that job and they got to put food on the table or whatever, but they don't necessarily agree, so they find their own way to not just follow rigid rules. They find a way to have some form of compassion or whatever. So I think it's people in the universe or energies, whatever you want to say, and they're always going to try to remind you of who you are. That's why you be seeing the same numbers and hearing the same words and stuff. And sometimes you might work with somebody and they're actually from you. And that person's also, the energy with that person is sending you messages. Like that one female, ever since she came around, I'd just be seeing tiger, tiger, tiger. And when I've been following the tiger, it took me back to Durga. But a lot's been going on. Because, see, I'm more into stuff like that. I'm more into the metaphysics of life. I could never, like, this is too shallow for me. This third dimension stuff is just way too shallow. It really is funny how life is. Now, as I was talking to you about the priestess and everything I just got finished saying, because yesterday I was helping move at my job. They made us clean out these shelves or whatever. So this dude, he handed me 2 boxes, and he's doing it from the top, and I'm at the bottom. And so nobody, you can't tell how heavy they are. So the boxes hit my hand, pushed my hand down, and my hand hit the metal cart and cut the finger. Cut both my fingers, the middle finger and the finger to the left on my right hand. So I got a Band-Aid for it. And it was okay to just now that I must have just hit it recently. So it was starting to bleed, so I went to get a Band-Aid. But the name of the Band-Aid box is Drugs Aid. But I just got finished saying Durga. See, Durga is D-U-R-G-A, and drugs is D-R-U-G. So, and even S, because anybody that really knows S is kind of like A. Because when you type it, sometimes you make that mistake. That's what I'm trying to tell you. But that just is, these are just simple ways that So that female I work with, she's kind of like the because I had to do a lot of fighting. I was thrown into a lot of shit. But I knew that through astrology. I knew it was coming. And even up in the universe right now, you see Venus really helping out Leo. She's in the Leo constellation, healing the heart. All kind of stuff. And even last night I looked out the window and I saw the backbone of the lion, which I've never seen a Leo because I'm a Leo. I've never seen a Leo constellation in that part of the night sky. But it's always the backbone of the lion, because the backbone of the lion, if you look at the Leo constellation, it's like 3 stars, but you can actually see them up in space, which is awesome. So the backbone is telling you to have backbone, because they say some people don't have a spine. That means that they're cowards. So that they kind of want you, and that's why I said when you understand astrology, you do better. Because if you stay third dimensional, you're gonna fear a man, you're gonna fear a woman, and because you lack fear, you're not respected. And so you think by going, oh no sir, yes sir, yeah, but that makes them fire you even faster. And sometimes when you let them know, yeah, you go ahead and try that if you want to, they be like, wow, this guy's crazy. Don't mess with him. It's crazy. It's just the world we work in. So that's why I don't work off I try not to work off the atmosphere of fear. And you do have spirits all around you trying to help you if you stop staying third dimensional all the time. All right. Now, the blood was necessary because the sacrifice, whatever that means. Blood also means family, whether you guys know that or not. And if we live many, many lifetimes, so I'm saying you might have lived in India, you might have lived with the Mayans, you might have lived with the Aztecs, you might have lived with the Egyptians. These are all lifetimes. And that's why I said when you study Prince's life, he lived many, many lifetimes. And that's why immediately people say, oh, he was cloned. He had to be cloned. Oh, that Prince from 1970, whatever. It's not the same Prince from 1988. And plus 90, it's not the same Prince, but because he kept evolving. It's just that we stay so busy. And if you're not waking up, you just stay third dimensional. So you don't understand it. All right. So now this is a full moon person, Scorpio. So it's going to be a highly psychic person. So this person is going to be very idealistic. Remember, the moon deals with the emotions. It's the feminine side. It's the Imam Kweli. So that moon is also going to control wherever you see Cancer at on his chart. And possibly his 4th house as well. But remember, whenever you see the moon and the sun, you're dealing with the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And that's why this is a first house, seventh house situation. The moon is in the seventh house, the sun is in the first house. So again, this person is going to be idealistic, going to see the best in everything, but I already told you that's going to be a problem because nothing's idealistic. And that's the challenge, because you say, well, I don't ask for much. I don't ask for much. I come from abuse. All I wanted was love. I thought I met someone. I thought this was going to be the person to make me happy. And then I found out they're still talking to their boyfriend. I think they're still having sex with their ex-boyfriend or their ex-husband or the father of their kids. And I thought they were going to be all for me. How could they do this to me? Why is this life so hard? And now you're just mad at everybody even more than you were before. And that's when the challenge comes in. Somebody says, well, did you love her? Or if it's a female, did you love him? And you say, yeah. Or I thought I did or whatever. And then they say, well, how could you just love them as long as they just do what you want them to do? But that's not love. That's selfish. That's lust. Did you try to communicate with them? Did you try to work through this? Did you work on forgiveness? And you're like, nah, I'm sick of that. Ever since I've been here, all I've seen is violence. The family I was born into was violent. When I grew up, went outside or whatever, from the moment I went outside, always in some type of fist fight or being accused of stuff I didn't do. And I finally met this one person. I thought it would be different. And now this person's lying too. Blah, blah, blah. So it's a reality of what love really is, because it's not going to be perfect. Nothing's not saying it has to be that bad or whatever, but it's not going to be perfect. So that idealism, you have to. If you're going to exist in third dimensional, and believe me, I agree with you. Because this is the one place to go. I feel sorry for you. Like, if you really believe in higher principles, this is not the planet to really try to implement those beliefs. Because somebody somewhere is going to let you down. Somebody somewhere is going to hurt you. Something that should have been smooth and went easy is going to be all complicated and effed up. So you have to know. You have to be able to balance idealism with realism. It also takes a lot of emotional maturity. So you may want to see the best in everything, in every person, in every situation. But the fact of the matter is, it's not always going to happen. And you have to be able to cope with the worst or stuff that you don't want to. And they say that this person uses these type of things for personal illumination. Well, use it for a learning too. But you may not get illumination from another person or another situation. But you can learn from it. If illumination means learning, that's true. But illumination doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get any light or enlightenment. So you have to balance that, because you got Virgo energy, you got Libra energy, you have the moon now going on, and Scorpio can be very obsessive. Scorpio can be very obsessive, manipulative, stalking, codependent. One thing about Scorpio, like they'll doubt you. Like Neptune can be that way too. But they'll doubt you. So they'll be accusing you of stuff you didn't do. But sometimes they can pick stuff up that they shouldn't. Because you might have been, it could be anything. You could have just had a dream. Like you could have had a dream when you was with some other female. Or if you're a female, another guy. And that Scorpio know it. So how does a Scorpio know that? But they do. And see, with the mother with the moon and Scorpio, oh man. Like anybody out there, when you were younger and you did something and there's no way your mother could have known, and she knows, like how the hell does she know that? So this is the kind of stuff you're working with. See, all this stuff is metaphysical, it's supernatural, it's higher. So that's this kind of stuff going on in a relationship. Because this is the 7th house. The 7th house ruled by Libra. Relationships, partners, agreements, contracts, business, open enemies. I think he even deals with the cemetery, if I'm not mistaken. That's why I said, I already told you about the Taurus energy. So this person, if they're around cemeteries, they might have supernatural stuff going on, because it's going to be life in that cemetery. Whether it's doesn't have to be in a physical body, but it's going to be energy. They're still going to be trying to contact them. All right. So they say this type of person would like you to know their purpose in life. His personality shines through his relationships and partnerships. So they may find themselves in a partnership with wealthy people. All right, now your part of fortune isn't as close to your moon, but it is in the same house. They said if the person so they said an emotional nature, nurturing nature, security themes, or public life will be an avenue for achieving part of fortune, happiness, and success. With the part of fortune and the moon. Now we want part of fortune and Scorpio. What you? So with the Pluto there, because you do have Pluto there, but yours is retrograde, which we will talk about. This person loves to investigate, detective work, crime solving, investigating the atom, studying genetic engineering, and manipulating DNA to cure cancer and AIDS. See, in the 8th house, because your 7th house is really your 8th house, because it's Scorpio and Pluto there. Pluto rules Scorpio. That could be the investigator, but it could also be an agent for other people. So they may use other people. But this is business. See, the 8th house has a lot to do with finances and business. So this person will study the mysteries of life in order to transform and improve life on earth for all mankind. See, like I said, I just keep thinking about Prince, but really that's all Prince really did. He just made you go into taboo. He made people not afraid to talk about that stuff that was considered taboo before he really brought it out. And some people that are here say that's necessary. And other people say, oh no, that's wrong. That's ungodliness and blah, blah, blah. And like I said, I don't know. Because I've been here long enough to just study everything. And it's like, I don't know no more. I just know me. I can only speak for myself. All right, now you want part of fortune, I believe, in Scorpio. Secretive and intense, because that's very mystery, very secretive. So no plan or plot is too complex to use in his pursuit of happiness and success. Yeah, that's what Prince said. He said, I can't be played. He said that to Travis Smiley. He was talking about the record companies. Prince said, I can't be played. There goes Prince, I can't be played. Here you go. This is Prince. 17. Notice how it's 17 minutes at James McCrae. James McCrae. He put this up 6 months ago. Prince says, I can't be played.
And go into a situation expecting someone to play you or to diss you or to act a fool in the process. But if in fact that does happen, how then does the artist, for example, protect himself even?
Well, I can't be played. A person trying to play me plays themselves.
Do y'all know how them two met? Because Prince was very selective of who interviewed him. That's why Mel B said, why did you choose me? Y'all heard her say that. But how Prince got Travis Smiley to interview him. He kept calling Travis, and Travis thought it was like a prankster. So he kept hanging up on Prince. And Prince kept calling back, and he kept hanging up on him. This went on for a long time. And so one time Prince called him and said, don't hang up. Don't hang up. This is Prince. And Travis Smiley like, look, man, I ain't got no time for no games. Prince said, this ain't no game. He said, this is where I'm at. This is my hotel room. Call the hotel and ask what room it is. And ask, and he said, and he did it. And then he realized he really was talking to Prince and shit. That's why I said, so I don't really have all the answers in that. Because here was Prince. He was a Seventh-day Adventist, but his family, I think his father was real abusive, as he brought out in Purple Rain. So he got away from religion, but he knew he was real creative. So he got into the music world. But it was the music world that turned him out. Because they're going to pimp you out as soon as you get there. Anything having to do with Hollywood or in the music world, you getting pimped out as soon as you get there. Especially if you don't know how the game is played. So when he was real young, you know, that's where he got all that from. But again, if you study the natal chart, you still see it. That's why I'm saying we keep going Illuminati, but some of this stuff is bigger than just a conspiracy on planet Earth, because you can see it in the natal chart. So when you go back to the vertex in the 6th house, but the vertex is Leo, so this individual is going to have some type of connection or fated event with some type of Libra energy or Virgo energy. And again, you can look on the other person's natal chart and you might see it there. Or it could be saying this person is going to have a fated event in the 7th house, which you do see all that stuff going on. Now you see Juno retrograde in the 7th house. Juno at 16 degrees. But retrograde means infidelity. So in this life or a past life, with this person that they're going to be in a relationship with, a more serious relationship, it's going to have some type of infidelity. But you know they're going to be in a relationship with somebody of either Libra energy or Scorpio energy. And I already said Scorpio is going to be very intense and a lot of power struggles and things like that. And again, because it's the 7th house, again, it could be Leo. It could be legal issues. which we've been bringing up. So the next thing we're going to do is 16 degrees, Scorpio. What was sweet about Purple Rain was nobody really was trying to hear Prince when he first came out. He might have had a small following, but nobody was really trying to hear him. But he made it his goal to make you know what he was about, and he gave you Purple Rain. But what was sweet about Purple Rain, Prince did two things that was sheer genius. Before I tell you those two things, that store, that bar owner where Prince played in a movie, and he told Prince, "Don't nobody want to hear that shit. Don't nobody want to hear nothing about you singing." Rick James. That's where Prince got that from. Rick James, because that's how Rick James used to talk to Prince. Nobody want to hear that shit you singing about. And also, Morris Day's whole character was based on Rick James, because Prince saw Rick James as a very narcissistic, blah, blah, blah. But keep in mind, they just didn't get along. And, just certain people, like y'all work together, but y'all just don't get along. But you still respect him. He respects you to a certain degree, but they didn't really see eye to eye. So he took Morris Day, guy always looking in the mirror and all that craziness. And Morris Day's character, because Morris Day said he didn't want to be that character, but Prince said, this is what you got to be. Because, Prince was really helping them with their career. Now, two things Prince did in that movie. Because he's trying to tell the world who he is. So he kind of told you about his life. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Way before Slim Shady gave you 8 Mile, Prince gave you Purple Rain. And that's what made Prince famous. Because after Purple Rain, everybody was going with the flashlight, Purple Rain, Purple Rain. Everybody, but before that, nobody was really feeling Prince that much. It was hard for him to get played on MTV. And John Cougar was telling everybody that Prince is the real deal. Give Prince some airplay. But John Cougar was the first person to really say, give him a chance. But after Purple Rain, that all changed. So he could have played it safe with Purple Rain, but he didn't. First, he showed you his dysfunctional background, which back then nobody was really talking about it like they are now. Or with Oprah and all that. They wasn't talking about it. So he showed you that. Then he actually smacked a broad. Which first, you're trying to figure this dude out. You're trying to figure this dude out. And then he smacks a broad. So now you're like, whoa. So you're studying this dude and you're relating to him like street dudes. It's like, yeah, my father beat my ass like Prince. And like in that era, dudes in the street, they was kind of like that. Like, yeah, I got an argument. I almost yanked up. So now you're starting to relate to this dude because he's not as soft and flimsy as you thought he was. Like, this dude is just like me. He just got a different way of looking at life than I do. And then, he didn't even play the star role. If you really watch Purple Rain, Prince did not play the star role. If you really watch the movie, he gave more credit to Morris Day. So that's what dudes do in the street. Like, you look like, I'm talking about old school, like how I came up. Like, dudes looked out for me and I looked out for the dude next to me. So Prince was dropping all the street shit in that movie that dudes caught on to. That's why after that movie, he was never, no matter what he did, you just said that's just how he is. But you gave him a pass. But before Purple Rain, real niggas was like, we ain't fucking with that nigga. He licking the microphone and this nigga weird. You know what I'm saying? They was agreeing with Rick James. But Rick James had to learn he wasn't no punk either. Because they had to go total, but everything happens for a reason. And like I said, I see drama all the time. But it happens for a reason. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If you study astrology, like in the last month or so, you're going to see they definitely focus in on Leo. True North Node is in Leo. Venus was just there at the heart. Then Venus went through and all kind of stuff going on with Leo. I've never seen Leo constellation this close to planet Earth before. And I've never seen the spine of the lion, ever. Them 3 stars. that's on the back of the line go down to his tail. They right up there. You see him at night. I seen him last night. That's an awesome thing to look at. So that's why I said when you understand astrology, that's why I'm at. I'm more into stuff like that. See, I'm not really with the past life and all that. I figure I already lived it. So that's why by the time I found my twin flame, I wasn't really interested in all that. Especially if it was going to be more drama, because I see drama all the time. And my twin was nothing but drama. But everything for a reason. But I was like, nah, that's too much. So that's how I teach the way I teach. Because bubblegum astrology is sweet, but you could make a lot of money, but you ain't really helping these people. And they're going to be in the same place they was months ago. One time on the internet, I talked to some female, she talking about another man. She was the other woman, and she was waiting for the man to leave her husband and all that. And I was real respectful the first time I talked. This was like 1998 on Yahoo, way back in the day, 20 years ago. So the first time I heard her, I was real respectful, and I listened to her whole story. I said never said nothing really. So then like about a year or 2 or 3 years went by, and I was online, and I was just in a room, and I started talking to somebody, and she was saying the same stuff she said 3 years ago. The same stuff. And I knew it was her. I said, man, it's the same female I spoke to 3 years ago. And I went off on her. I said, listen. I said, that man ain't leaving his wife for you. I said, you just a knockoff. I said, he just come bang you out and leave. I said, why don't you use common sense? 3 years that went on. He ain't said nothing about leaving. He not leaving. I said, man, this is pathetic. I said, you need to get on with your life and stop talking crazy. I just went off on that chick. But somebody needed to tell her. Now, would I do that now in 2018? Probably not. But still, somebody needed to tell her. Like, you can play this game if you want to, but stop lowering yourself. You're here for a reason. You're here for so much more. Stop letting third dimensional slap you around and treat you like garbage. All right. So this person with 16 degrees Scorpio is benevolent, altruistic, and tactful character. Life is dedicated to the alleviation of other people's suffering. This degree sometimes describes a patron who protects artists or funds philanthropic organizations. Like I said, it could be an agent, some type of agent. The natal chart indicates what really lies beneath such generosity and whether one is motivated by self-interest or, on the contrary, by a genuine spirit of universal fraternity. But we definitely see people all around him. All right. Either way, your Pluto means something's going to be taken away. So something that you really were, like was your crutch, the universe is going to kick it out the way and you ain't going to be able to get it back. Because that's the only way you're going to move the way the universe wants you to go. So whenever you see Pluto retrograde on your chart, remember Saturn and Pluto teach you lessons. So when you're 7th house of relationship, something has got to be taken away so that you can move on with it. Move on. Now, a lot of people with astrology, like how natal charts work, you get some information, but you're not going to see, like let's just say somebody's a guitar player. That is on your natal chart. Like I told you about artistic families and all that. But if you want a more specific, you would have to get a reading with that. That's just the way it is. There's no way I would know all that. Because I never claimed to be psychic. I told you, I show you what I see. Now, could I be psychic if I wanted to? So y'all have to understand. I've been invited many times to go into the dark. I don't go. Many times to go into the unknown. See, some people like that stuff. Like at the end of the day, I'm just me. You know what I'm saying? I'm really just like I'm more like even though I'm not. Let me say this: my bloodline is from the country, but we came over on slave ships, and we came over from Britain, and we was in Virginia. To this day, my family's still in Virginia. For an unknown reason, when my younger sister, 3 years younger than me, when she got out of high school, she went right to college, but she chose Virginia. But see, that was some metaphysical stuff, because she could have went anywhere she wanted to. And not only did she choose Virginia, but she stayed down there. Like, she never came, like some people come back home and live for a while. She never did. But that was because somebody representing us had to go back to Virginia, because that's really where we from. Because that's where God is going to do some big stuff, because that's the melanated people, all that stuff, that's all at Virginia. 1619, all that stuff. Jamestown, which used to be called James City. So me, I'm more, I'm just more like, I'm really just the average. Like I would see myself more, even though I never really been in the country, I see myself more as a country dude. But I ain't scared of nobody. I've been through everything. But some people need all that validate. I don't need no validation. I know what I believe is strong, and I believe. That's why I say I don't care if I lose a lot of money telling the truth, because I'm validated either way, and I don't fear life. I don't fear death. You know what I'm saying? And some of the stuff she tried to tell you all that. Lisa Lopez tried to tell you all that stuff. So I don't need to know all the secrets and all the unknown and stuff like that. And I'm a true sun child. I'm a Leo. My ruler is the sun, so that's all I need. I keep it 100, keep it real, and just move the way I move. Some other people, they need to know the darkness. They need to know the occult. They need to know the mystery. They got to have all kind of sex and all that. They just got to go, 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 go. And that's their business. Like, I just tell you what's on your chart, And if you get a reading, I tell you what's on a reading. But I don't be trying to tell you no more this or that. All right. So we getting ready to do Lilith and Scorpio. I'm going to pause this for a moment. All right. Now, you're seeing more the prince and a priestess. You're seeing the male that can demonstrate both of those energies. And that's what you saw a prince too. Because when you really study Prince, I'm not going to be as specific as I could be. But if you really study Prince in his interviews, you can tell how, he needed that. He needed that. Like we already studied it. We already studied it on this chart. But he needed that. He needed to be held and all the stuff to say a feminine energy might want. But he wanted it too, and he did it. But he also could be aggressive. He could also be the dominating or the masculine, because he also was a womanizer. So you're seeing all that on his natal chart. But now maybe if anybody's listening, they can understand the whys. It's not just because if you look at it strictly from a religious viewpoint, all you're going to do is go ill or whatever you're going to do. You're either going to accept it, don't accept it, or whatever. But when you understand it from the natal chart, you see it had to happen. It was definitely going to happen. All right, so just give me a moment. I'm looking at a few things. All right, so we're looking at Lilith and Scorpio. So this person will have raw, instinctive, and irrational actions, but this will cause them to be able to peep through, penetrate, and transform, going below, he wrote, the surface. So they will tend to reserve primal expression for times and activities and relationships that further personal evolution. See, whenever you see people that stay really at the sexual level of a relationship, whether it's the same sex, different sex. That's what we call primal. That's what they call primal as well. They say there is a sense of purpose that drives Scorpio, recognizing the necessity for deep change and the attention and focus necessary to do it. And we may look at a little bit more about Lilith and Scorpio. But let's go to the house. Let's go to Lilith in the 7th house. What he did, he warned people to have Lilith in the 7th, because they said this person, instead of coming to grips with Lilith in themselves, they'll try to see Lilith in the other person or other people. So they're saying this person's got to learn how to come to grips with Lilith in themselves as well. I don't know if I would have interpreted it that way, but that's one way of thinking about it. Got to be careful with that one. All right, just give me a minute, because you see, Lilith is very important. That's why I don't just want to. All right, just bear with me. Lilith is very, 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 very extremely powerful. Somebody said, were you born on a black moon? Nah, well, they said new moon, so no. Full moon, really, full moon. Because this is important, especially in the 7th house. All right, just give me a moment. I'm going to be doing a couple of things. Sun sign, elephant sign, what is this? Chinese sign, what is this? Chinese sun sign, the lion, elephant sign, Chinese sign. All right. Oh, and that guy that dropped those boxes on my finger when we he's got the same name as me. That's why I tell you everything happens for a reason. And I tell you when you understand etymology, anything with a GA is going to connect you back to. You got Durga from India, Durga, but GA is going to connect you back to Gabriel. And long before I understood all this stuff that I understand now, I always said I was connected to Archangel Gabriel. So you know who you are, but you let third dimensional stop you. And I've learned that you can't let third dimensional stop you. And there really is a battle between good and evil. That people think that that's just in the movies. No, it's not. That's real. And the best way to stop your enemy is to get your enemy distracted. And that's why these people are ready to kill for third dimensional crap. And no matter how much you fight for third dimension, it's still going to burn. It's never going to be last. It's not meant to be lasting. So you got to really learn. It's supposed to teach you lessons and stuff. But everybody doesn't want to hear that. All right, just give me a moment. Because some of these, the internet used to didn't really have a lot of stuff about Lilith on it. Now all of a sudden I gotta find all these websites. Everything happens for a reason. Okay, if you have Lilith in your 7th house, it may complicate your marriage or long relationships. So they say this person is trying to unite with someone who's darker than they are. Now when it says darker, it means in energy, not in color, but in energy. Lilith makes them feel attracted to people of mischief character and dubious morality. Now this is the first time, in my opinion, this is the first time on his chart that they're implying that his twin or the person he's going to find himself in a relationship with may lead him on a course that causes legal problems. Because Lego, Libra, they're all represented by the scales of justice. They say 7th house people are often very kind and naive, and they keep saying that about him. and therefore search for the exact opposite in order to balance their own behaviors. That's deep. See, a lot of times when you see evil on your chart, it could be your twin. And I'm not saying that as a scapegoat, but I just know my personality. And that's why when I reread my chart, I'm like, nah, that's not even me. But like I know my twin, I'm like, yeah, that's more like her. So that's why I say you got to really be committed to stuff like this. Because what most people do when they get a reading, this is what they do. If something don't sound right away, they just, oh, no, that didn't happen. And they're out of here. But it takes patience. Just like if you was calling yourself a Christian, they tell, oh, have faith. You have to have patience. Wait on the Lord. Like everything takes time sometimes. And that's one thing you have to have is patience. And a lot of people don't have it. Like I said, I've been doing all this kind of stuff for a long time, so I already know. So they say it again, but now, see, they're explaining it better than the other person. The other person just got to the point, and that's why I was like, wow, that was way too quick for Lilith. But they're saying that this, inside of this person's subconscious mind, they need to see the dark traits of Lilith in other people. And as you already know, this person is always going to be around a lot of people. And Prince was always around. But like I said, Prince was always, you never knew what Prince was thinking, but he always had people with him usually. So they say that this person may come around other people and bring their Lilith out. But they'll bring that person's Lilith out so that they don't have to manifest their own Lilith if you have Lilith in the 7th house. So that's like the type of people to try to get people to do things. So this person will be attracted to people who have a strong Lilith on their chart, in their charts. Like a Lilith in the 1st house or a Lilith conjunct the ascendant. Or their partner's Lilith may be conjuncting important personal planets. But they make sure they tell you that these rules are not always valid. So they say this person will be dealing with tough aspects between Pluto, which there is a Pluto retrograde right there, Saturn, which I told you Saturn deals with karma, and see his 10th house where Aquarius is in Capricorn, that's ruled by Saturn. So once again, still dealing with karma. And I told you when I first started it, his ascendant is 17 degrees, which I told you deals with karma. And they said, so you might see a moon and Pluto, and that's exactly what you see in the 7th house. But it's dealing with dark characteristics. So they say this person, because they have Lilith in the 7th house, they're having their life gates open for inviting individuals who may harm him, which we've already talked about. They've been warning. See, with a natal chart like this, he has enough information now to go deeper. You know what I'm saying? To find out more. That's totally up to him. But this natal chart gave him tons of clues of his past life. They said this person might be experiencing difficult relationships with people that might even repulse him. Now, I meant to say something else. See, something that people don't realize about Michael and Prince, that they were alike in a lot of ways that people don't want to admit. They both were introverts. They both were in dark, like creepy stuff. They both found humor. They both found humor in things that other people might not think were humorous. Like that movie, the song he made with that female, Thriller. You see how Michael was laughing and all that. That female was terrified. Michael was just having a ball. Michael was watching that movie, eating popcorn. That female was terrified. Um, but Prince and Michael didn't get along. Prince didn't like Michael. Michael tried to reach out to Prince, but Prince did not like Michael. And to this day, nobody really knows why. But they both were Jehovah's Witnesses at some point in their life. They both had connections to Arabia. See, all this stuff is past life stuff. It goes deeper than just Illuminati. I think the Illuminati on this planet is a conduit. But at the end of the world, it's stuff that's going to happen anyway. Even if Illuminati had nothing to do with it, it's stuff that would have happened anyway. Because this is past life stuff. This is what we call universal. I want to just start calling it life, because it's something that's life, which we all come from, and we're all playing our position. Like me, I know where I'm going. Like I have no doubt about nothing, because I know why I'm here. I know where I'm going and stuff like that. And there is a battle between light and dark. And your Bible tells you that in the beginning, light came out of darkness. And they tell you again in John chapter 1, Genesis chapter 1. So there's always going to be a difference between light and darkness. And people have to make a choice. Because there's always going to be an existence, and there's always going to be worlds upon worlds upon worlds upon worlds. Because this creator is never going to stop creating. And everybody's been picked. Everybody's been selected. And I'll leave it at that. Because I don't want to say, because people say, what are you saying? Are you saying it doesn't matter? Or are you saying we're just playing a role? And I'm saying, I don't know. It's like an interactive matrix. That's all I can tell you. But you're there for a reason, but it's still interactive. So I can't say everything is just scripted. Like that movie did a great job. That movie, The Matrix, when he was trying to explain what the Matrix was, the Keanu Reeves character, it's kind of like that. And then at the end, when he found that man was in a computer room. That's why any nerd knows. You say, hey, that guy that had the white suit on that was running the Matrix, that was like a computer room. So that's why I try to tell you, it's just deep. See, I'm into stuff like that because I don't like the flunky shit. I want to be sitting up in the big chamber where the big boss is, because I'm not here for games, So I learn a lot of stuff, but I can see stuff. And when you learn this stuff, you can start to manipulate your own reality and shit. It's real cool, but you gotta really be with it. And most people aren't, because like I said, they're gonna fall for the touchy-feely stuff. And they're gonna keep falling for the bubblegum astrology, and that way you stay trapped in the matrix. Because it's like a rat with cheese. As soon as you get selfish, or you're just worrying about, you keep going for the cheese and you keep trapping yourself. You gotta get past that. Alrighty, so now it says, so this person may enjoy difficult relationships with people that might even repulse them. So you say, why would you want to be in a relationship with a person that repulses you? Because that's that darker side of Lilith in the 7th house. So this person may like to feel victimized. Or they may try to soften the darker side or difficult side of their partner. So he may be trying to turn the sinner into a saint, to tame the wild beast and make it into a lamb. If Lilith is positively aspected, the odds can be on the native side and help them succeed. But none of these transformations are going to be easy. So a 7th house Lilith indicates that one's partner may have extreme sexual instinct, a rebellious character, or even self-destructive tendencies. And I saw a movie like that before, where this guy, like he was a loner, but he was some type of cop or something, and he fell in love with this Lilith type female, and she had him robbing banks and all kind of crazy shit. Like she changed his life, and then when they finally caught him, like they were shooting guns at him to kill him, and he was still calling this female's name. He had become so obsessed with her that he was calling her like she was God. Like he thought by her calling, he thought he was Lois Lane, and by her calling, like she was going to show up like Superman and save him from them bullets. So this stuff is powerful. And we try to tell people, we try to teach people about sex magic and all kind of stuff. But this stuff is powerful. So they say the relationship can be very problematic, and you're always going to be dealing with the Lilith, the darker, the difficult aspects of the partner's psyche. So you got to be very careful when you're dealing with partners. Even like I said, death, because the 7th house does deal with cemeteries. Open enemies. So because Lilith is in the 7th house, it could mean failing in business or relationships. But like I said, each person's difficult. A lot of people, as soon as they see Lilith, they just go bad. But Lilith is not necessarily bad. She gets a lot of bad breaks because of mythology and a lot of other stuff. Just like the number 22 is actually a good number. That's the melanated people. But because these devils hate us, they go number 2, it's wicked. And it's funny, because his Lilith is 22. So I think he's gonna be caught up in a lot of shit that's not even his fault. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. This nigga might do some jail time for some shit he really ain't. It's not his time and shit. You better watch them people that be close to you. Make sure they don't get you roped on the crazy things they do. Jail time can be snail time. Don't be nobody's fool. So that was a mix. It was a little bit of a freestyle, but it was mixed in with a Foxy Brown. I believe Foxy Brown was the person that said that. But somebody probably wrote that lyric for her, like Jay-Z or somebody probably wrote that for her. Because Foxy wasn't writing too much. He had a ghostwriter like Drake. Nas wrote it. Nas might have wrote it. But what I'm trying to tell y'all is, see, that's the divine feminine. You understand? So it's funny how he's singing that song and we talking about Lilith. You understand? And this is your relationship sector. And it could be a relationship with anybody if you listening. Plus if you watching his natal chart. Because this person is going to be around a lot of people like all the time. But he's got to be careful. See, I don't see Lilith as the enemy. I think if you don't listen to her, you get fucked up because you didn't listen to her. That's what I believe. Because I know Lilith, but I'm connected to the divine feminine. And I know Lilith personally, because she'll come to you. She'll come in your dreams. She'll come. She don't do it no more, but she used to. Scare the shit out your ass. But I don't see her as evil. And I think what she does, like if you did some dirty shit, then dirty come back on you. That's how, when I study Lilith, that's what I see. Like she ain't nobody's sucker. And the mythology is they thought she was gonna be like a subordinate. And she said, I ain't nobody's subordinate. And she basically said nah to God, to Adam, to the angel. She was like, nah. So now she gets this bad rap. So like number 22 is the melanated people. Those are the real people of God. But if you do their astrology, they tell you 22 is wicked. They tell you 22 is bad. But if you accept that shit, you get what you accept. That's why I said, when you gonna finally man up or woman up and be who you really are and stop being scared of these fucking devils? That's how it go down. So you got to make that choice. And that's why I said, watch those niggas. Like, you got to make that choice. Like, if you go to, oh, my life is cursed and, oh, everything always go wrong. Yeah, because you just sit there and take it. Do you know how to tap back into the divine feminine? The moon is right there. Why the moon right next to her? Tap back into mama. Get that power back. See, we Mo. What y'all know about Mo? Why like anybody with Mu, M-U and M-O, and they all dealing with the moon because they deal with mama. And why they deal with the crescent moon so much? Because they deal with the secrets. Even Revelation 12 is about a pregnant woman. Well, a pregnant woman look like a crescent moon, nigga. Like, wake up. You understand? Y'all talking bubblegum astrology. What's that doing but breaking your heart and keeping you weak and deceived? They don't know who you are, don't know what your purpose is. But you talking crazy. Like my man Tyario said. He said, all these people in Christianity, he said, all these people been in the church for 40 years. If you ask them what their purpose is, they can't even answer it. What's your gifts? They could barely answer that question because you're being deceived. They overthrew you, gave you some fake ass shit, and you love it. But then you want to be upset when you get your heart broke. And then dudes like me ain't supposed to talk about it. But if you look at your transit chart, if you look at your space chart, the true north node is in Leo. Because the lion got to tell the truth. The lion got to roar. The lion can't be scared. We about to see this matrix burn to the ground. Naturally. I ain't talking about no revolutionary stuff. Because revolutionaries ain't never get the job done if you want to keep it 100. And a lot of these so-called revolutionaries actually work for the beast. So it's about to be supernaturally done. Because it's just time. So even when you study that name Nas, a lot of y'all don't even know Nas is in the Bible. I forget. I think it's in Matthew chapter 2. You see Nas, his name is right there. And Nas, you got to understand what Nas' name mean. And I guess you could say esoteric. It don't have to be esoteric, though. But Nas is big. That's why he said it is written. So, Nashia. All right. So that's powerful. Let me see. Was there anything else I needed to read? So they say if you feel it inside you not to collaborate with people, they say don't do it because these people are going to set you up. They're going to take advantage of you, or they're going to set you up. Because it looked like he either going to do some jail time, or he may have already done it, but it wasn't fully his fault. That's what I've been seeing. And you also got to remember that Mars used to rule Scorpio. But now Mars rules Aries and Pluto rules Scorpio. Because see, this is real intense. I mean, it could go different levels. Like if you was talking some gangster shit, it could even go on that level. So it said that 7th house Lilith may bring a snake at your business doorstep. So they say don't give your power to somebody that's going to fuck you over. And that's why I keep trying to tell you. Oh, it's on I had to get with her. Oh, it's in my 7th house. She's right there. I had to. I'd be like, oh, hell no, you didn't. Oh, hell no, you didn't. That's like somebody saying, go ahead, shoot me in my fucking head. Why would I say that? Why would I bring somebody into my life? That's why I said I've been here long enough, and I'm telling you, I'm not with that silly shit. I tell somebody quick. People can't believe how quick I tell somebody, nah, I ain't doing that. What you mean you ain't? I just said I ain't doing it. What I said. What you gonna do? You ain't gonna do nothing worse than me than it already happened. That's why when somebody be trying to make an idle threat to me, I be laughing. Like, you ain't gonna do nothing to me that I ain't already seen since I've been here. F you and whatever you talking about. I don't need the drama in my life. I got enough. See, they said open enemies. See, there you go. we should not forget that the 7th house is the realm of open enemy. See, and it's also the 7th house of cemeteries, bro. That's on my word, bro. That's why I said it's just too much on his chart. And it said, and Lilith will make them quite vicious. See, now you get on that gangster shit. Like, you know, you have to understand, anybody that would take a life, that's still gangster, whether they consider themselves a gangster or not, to kill somebody. Moreover, if she is adversely aspected, be sure your ex-partner or partners will not hesitate to turn against you after your relationship ends. Watch them niggas or bitches that be close to you. Make sure they do. They both do. Jail time gonna burn and roast you. Said Lilith can become a great teacher, and that's what I'm trying to tell you if you listen to her. And it says the difficulties that she can bring in the natives' relationships will definitely make them a stronger person. Now, if y'all was listening to what I just said, I told you I knew Lilith. I go way back, over 30 years with Lilith. All right? But you see how I talk sound a lot stronger than somebody talking about, oh, wow, woe is me. No, woe is you. Why is it got to be woe is me? Why can't it be woe is you? You the one bringing all the drama. It should be woe is you, not woe is me. He will eventually become conscious about the problematic people he attracts. See, you got to become a realist, because this life we in don't have nothing to do with bubblegum astrology. It don't have nothing to do with flying or living happily ever after. Don't have nothing to do. If you get a relationship like that, thank God, because that's very rare. This life we in, third dimensional, is problematic. People sell you out. You can barely get along with your own family, and they got the same blood in their veins as you got. You understand? And they act like I'm not supposed to talk about it. But that's what makes me great, that I talk about it despite losing whatever. That's the only way you're going to break out the matrix, is facing the matrix, not lying about it, not tapping out. That's what cowards do. And then they pay for it at some point. So they say this type of person, because they deal with so much negativity, they may develop their own dark side, but it's usually repressed. But we already talked about repression. 12th house, probably the 11th house, 8th house, but also the 7th house, because your 8th house is in your 7th house with Scorpio and Pluto. They say if you have Lilith in your 7th house, it may bring divorce or bad relationships. But they said you might even have troubles concerning the procedure of getting divorced. And they said your matter usually goes to court, because I keep telling you, court, legal matters. Might even have custody battles over children or other type of custody battles. Same thing can happen in business partnerships. They say when you try to dissolve the business relationship, it got to go through law, and that could be a lengthy procedure. And again, you're going to start dealing with Saturn energy soon. All right, now, let me just see how much time I got on this piece. All right. Now, that was some good explanations. Much better than what that other dude said. He was too quick with it. All right. But much more information on Lilith is online now. That used to be difficult to find information on. I could, but it took a long look. But like for me personally, I don't see Lilith as a bad person. She just don't take no shit. And so you gotta remember who's telling you this. If they tell you 22 is evil, it's because they white supremacists and they hate melanated people. Remember, everything came from the darkness. Remember, and that's why they even call her the Black Moon and stuff. So then if it's a woman with power, they immediately say she's evil. Oh, she's evil. But they say the same thing about you. Oh, they was evil. We had to overthrow them. They wasn't nothing but a bunch of devil worshiping cannabis or something. So they lie about everything. They twist words and stuff. So that's why I say you got to really understand who the real enemy is and to get your power back. So that you can stop playing this game based on their astrology and all that bubblegum bullshit. Where it keeps you distracted. And you never get your power back. And you're always you're letting somebody else lead you, or you're always looking externally for your answers when you should be looking internally and probably looking up. Because when they found the Messiah, what did they do? They looked up and followed this star. So that should tell you something right there. And he said, when you see these things happening, look up. Your deliverance is getting near. So the Messiah is always telling you to look up. But you listen to people telling you to look at some stupid shit. And if you think the universe ain't going to send you somebody to tell you the truth, they are. And then once you hear the truth, the universe is going to start pushing you to listen. It might take you a minute before you really get it, though. But at some point, you're going to have to get it if you ever going to get out the matrix. So we want to thank you, Lilith, for helping us. It was fabulous. Thank everyone for helping us. Thank Spirit for helping us. Now they want me to tell you also, which it will be, but your seventh house will be transformative, though. Oh, they got this symbol. It says a Jedi shall not know anger, nor hatred, nor love. That's deep. Now that's some deep stuff. This is called Cosmic Intelligence Agency. So y'all can check that out. That's the one that said about the Jedi Knight. They on that deep shit. All right, Lilith and Scorpio. This is from thehoodwitch.com. They say that Lilith doesn't have a ruling sign, but they say that many astrologers suggest Scorpio is her ruler. Well, that's where she's at in your chart. Now, her sign, because Scorpio and Lilith are associated with sex, death, and other taboos. So Lilith does not feel at home in Scorpio. No, she says it does. Lilith does feel at home in Scorpio with amplified powers of seduction, business acumen, and psychic connections. What more can you ask for? But she's warning you to use your powers wisely. Don't strike out unnecessarily because karma may be less than kind. But I already warned you about karma. I see it all in your chart. Little signs of the zodiac. And they even said 19 astrology info. Oh shit. And they was telling you about number 19. See, this dude got a deep connection to the priestess. I can't go into your past life, son, but you got a definite connection to one of the most powerful aspects of the divine feminine, which is Lilith. The first and the last. We are now ready to move on. Final house, which I'm calling your karmic house. And look at all those retrogrades. So in your final house, the good news is Capricorn is pretty mature. It deals with your career and your reputation, but Capricorn could be an old soul. And your ninth house is the house of really maturity, more maturity, higher self, higher courts, foreign things, possibly foreign language, religion, class and culture, philosophy, the in-laws, the in-laws. And because you're dealing with Capricorn, you're also dealing with your 10th house ruled by Capricorn, but you're also dealing with where Saturn is in your chart, which is in this house. So this is going to be a lot of karma. So let's go 9 degrees Capricorn. Secretive, wise, and alert character, success and fame can be achieved in any night shift work and in careers requiring confidentiality. Philosophy, astronomy, and occultism are also very favored. Although one is not deliberately willing to harm colleagues or competitors, one readily takes advantage of their mistakes. Should your natal chart concur, setbacks stem from overdeveloped sensualities. So they're trying to tell you your sensuality may get you in trouble a little bit with your career agenda or your reputation. And sometimes if you're artistic with it, it might actually help, like Madonna or Prince or somebody else who use a whole lot of sexuality in their artwork. And Michael Jackson was known for grabbing that you-know-what on stage. All right, Uranus is going to go retrograde on August 7th, 2018 at 2 degrees 33 minutes. This is astrologyking.com, and he said get kinky. I was just singing the kinks. All right. Somebody's like, please don't start singing. I was like, yeah, I should, but I'll spare you. All right, with Uranus retrograde, you can expect unexpected surprises come out of nowhere. These surprises can be wonderful or undesirable. Remember, your Uranus is going to affect where your Aquarius is, which is your 12th house, is your career. So you got a Capricorn, Aquarius thing going on in your 9th and 10th house. But also your 11th house is ruled by Aquarius, and that's ruled by Uranus. So it's still dealing with people, but just like because the so-called oddball way of doing things. So these wouldn't be what you call conventional situations. These are unconventional. And then they're not like what's considered normal. But Uranus retrograde can bring chaos as well. And what's going to happen is, even though your 9th house is pretty much Capricorn, serious, you may go totally to the other extremes. And you've seen artists do this. Somebody who might be shy, all of a sudden they just become unbelievably talkative and outgoing. Or if they're unbelievably talkative and outgoing, they might just all of a sudden go intro. Shy and introspective. So, but a Uranus retrograde means this person won't have a middle ground. And that could be dangerous because they won't know how to compromise or accept reality. So they say in one of your previous lives, you may have been a rebel or a revolutionary. Sometimes when you're dealing with military, that's when you see Virgo, because that's service, or the 6th house, that's service. So you may have always fought authority. And that's kind of what your 9th house is about, because you got both Saturn and Capricorn there. So that's kind of like authority. But they say if you're extreme like that, hot or cold, no middle ground, no compromise, it could mess your relationships up. So you have to learn how to become more realistic. Things are just not gonna go your way, and sometimes you have to work through stuff that you would rather just walk away from. Now Neptune retrograde is the escapist, which isn't good. Let's look at that 14 degrees Neptune. 14 degrees Capricorn. Fiery, shrewd, and ambitious character, life is most likely to be full of adventures and passion. And marked by a strong attachment to the motherland. See, because that's the ninth house. The ninth house deals with foreign. One may be involved in political upheavals and play an important role in the history of one's country. Success can be achieved in hunting and all occupations related to animal husbandry and trade, archaeology, war, politics, or law. If the person's natal chart shows introverted tendencies, this degree describes an intense inner life and a spiritual leader driven by noble ideas. And that might be the reason why he might find himself in legal battles, attempted murders, or violence, or jail. All these are possibilities. So that's Neptune retrograde again. We're going to look at that a little bit more, but I know that's escapist. And you have to be careful because the escapists will want to get high, they escape, get drunk to escape. They'll do anything to escape, but then they fall into addictions. But when Neptune is retrograde, it can help you become more intuitive because logic falls to the wayside when Neptune is retrograde, which means you may become more intuitive, which is good, especially in the ninth house, because intuition in the ninth house is very good. And if they are more intuitive, they may get more involved with the esoteric matters of why, who you really are, why you're really here. You might have experiences with dreams and psychic abilities. See, you got to remember, your ninth house is not just foreign countries. It could be where you're really from. It could be dimensions. It could be out there in space. That's anything in the ninth house. Because even as travel, and Uranus is known for traveling too. In fact, Uranus, Neptune, and Sagittarius, which is who rules your ninth house, that's all astroplaning, traveling, out-of-body experiences, or dreams and all that stuff. So you got all that going on in your ninth house. So your ninth house may help you understand your inner nature better, because that's what the other person just said, your inner nature. And that to me, that's what that priestess is. So you'll learn new outlets of communications, and you could also see this in your artistic abilities and expressions. But then you got to be watchful of bacteria because Neptune rules bacteria. Remember, anything with Neptune rules the waters, Pisces, the sea. So you got to be careful of viruses and your immune system. So when you see Neptune retrograde, it could affect allergies and make them worse. So your immune system may be overly sensitive because of your Neptune retrograde. And you have to be careful of developing serious diseases. So you got to be careful of staying in dream worlds or a delusion. You might say the word like should. Oh, they should do this. This should be this way. But the fact of the matter is usually life just isn't what it should be. You got to deal with all kind of crazy stuff, crazy people starting trouble for no reason. You could go somewhere and just be standing there minding your own business, and all of a sudden somebody accuses you of something, all kind of hell breaks loose. All kind of crazy stuff can go out. You could actually be taking somebody out to dinner. You're trying to be a great guy, and they just start cursing you out and just taking you for granted and shit. That's the world you live in. So you got to be ready for all that. And like I said, what helped me out a lot was astrology and the Archangel cards. I consider the Archangels my family. That's what gave me a total turnaround on this planet. So again, this person with Neptune retrograde, they're going to be very secretive. You're not going to know what's going on in their mind. They could be sitting right next to you. And they're even if they're working, their mind is usually in a fantasy world. Or they're internal people. They said Neptune retrograde can be one of the most dangerous positions in the astrological chart. It can cause people to be inhibited, to lack confidence. They won't reach out for their dreams. They'll try to stay in reality. And they may go into mental depression or mental illness. But in a past life, your dreams were probably laughed at or put down or forbidden or repressed. You may have been forced to give up your lifelong dreams in exchange for other responsibilities, such as becoming the breadwinner of your family unexpectedly. So now in this life, you're trying to escape, or you have an extreme expression of your creativity. But that can cause other problems in your life as well. So in this life, you have to learn how to rise above challenges that come across your path. You have to stop any abuse of drugs or alcohol, anything else that's unhealthy. You may have to seek help to overcome these habits. You have to learn how to control these things and don't let them control you. And also consider helping others. You see, yours is Neptune retrograde, but that's what your 12th house is about. Helping others. Because that'll help heal you as well. But not just help others, because that's not just going to heal you. You have to really work on healing yourself too. Because a lot of people just say, well, I'll just help other people. And they never get their life together. All right. So your ninth house is going to be kind of contradictory. Because one minute you're going to be kind of like rigid, and then the next minute you're going to like really be anti-rigid, which is really going to be confusing people. Saturn and Jupiter are your social planets. Saturn slows everything down, and Saturn retrograde is a tough taskmaster. So you got Saturn and Capricorn in your ninth house, which means you're going to be somewhat of a tough taskmaster. Saturn may make it longer to work or make you work harder to think things through. There are no shortcuts when Saturn is retrograde. So nothing should be rushed during a Saturn retrograde. They said take time to breathe and do things right the first time. You might have issues with authority. Working on contracts or delayed or deals may be delayed. Deadlines may be extended, and you may find yourself working on something you thought was already complete. So if Saturn retrograde means that in a past life you were always in conflict with authority, you may feel pressured, persecuted by your boss or upper management. But you may have been abusive yourself. You may have not have been the victim. You may not have been the victim. You may have been the abuser. Saturn retrograde means you have trouble saying no, setting limitations, and this is why people can take advantage of you. And you may also have trouble voicing your opinions to those in authority or those around you, and that makes you feel more like a victim. And they also say you have to learn how to be patient, because Saturn will be about patience, but Saturn retrograde is opposite Saturn direct. So you might have to learn patience. You may have been a prisoner in a past life or enslaved. by an abusive ruler. You may have also been immensely impatient. Also, you might have been somewhat of a bully, making other people do responsibilities you should have done yourself. So in this life, you have to learn accountability. If you feel somebody's abusing you, you got to stand up for yourself and hold them accountable. That's what I had to learn, because I was always thrown in the fights to this day. A lot of people that come here is what I call earth angels. They be the nicest people in the world. They come to this planet, they have love, they want to help, they're spiritual and everything. And this planet beat the shit out of them. Just like Joseph. In your Bible, it talks about Joseph. Joseph was the most loving person. He knew about astrology. He just wanted to help. His own brothers beat his ass, tried to kill him, and then sold him, and he ended up in slavery and shit. But God still used him, though. See, that's what I believe. It's a battle between light and darkness. And there's some people that this world is not going to defeat. And those are the people that are going to help better everything. Because they're not afraid of the darkness. They're not afraid of this shit. And that's what I believe. And that's why when you talk about bubblegum astrology and all that, everything has its place. But if that's all you're talking about, it's like you're useless to the universe. And plus, whatever you're looking for, you're not going to get anyway. Or whatever you betray God for, at some point, it's going to betray you. I got a person that's going through that right now. This dude, he's like that cop that I talked about in the movie. That cop I saw in the movie. Like when the pressure got tough, he's calling out for this woman that's nowhere to be found. They had already killed her. Because for the moment she came in his life, his whole life went crazy. Before that, he was like a honorable police officer, but he was still like a introvert. Guess you could kind of say like a loser. But at least he did his job. But after she came in his life, she had him robbing banks, all kind of crazy stuff. And when they finally caught him, they had already caught her. I think they either locked her up or killed her. I don't remember which one. But when they caught him, it was a shootout, and he's calling her like she's God, like she's gonna come save him. So when you betray universe, what I call a universal obligation, which is seen on your natal chart, when you betray it for some bubblegum astrology or something like that, you're gonna pay for that at some point. And whatever you betrayed the universe for is gonna betray you. So this person's got to learn how to speak up and how to constructively voice your concerns and opinions instead of being afraid or trying to find some escapist way of dealing with it or just repressing it and holding it all in. That might be why Aries is in your 12th house, to force you to bring it out. What did I tell you about Venus? Because Venus was helping me, or she always was, because she's like your bigger sister or whatever. She's going to push you not to be afraid. She's going to push you to stand up like whatever your sign is, whatever you're, that bull. Because a bull's not supposed to be intimidated. Neither is a lion. So once you take control of your life, it says you'll end that cycle of feeling victimized. So your 9th house is also going to help you with your 7th house, with Lilith. And you see God do the same thing to Paul in 2 Corinthians 12. And if you notice, 2 Corinthians 12 says grace, because that's the feminine energy. That's the divine feminine. So she is going to smack you around and do all kind of stuff to you to toughen you up. And she did the same thing to David in Psalm 69. She threw David in the deep. And then she did it to David again in Psalm 23, where he talks about the valley of the shadow of death, where there was evil, but he wasn't afraid of it, because she's going to bully you until you toughen up. So if you be going, why me? Why me? Because it's the universe's way of telling you to toughen you up. And like I said, everybody looking for bubblegum astrology, they're looking for an easy way out. And that's why, for the most, you don't really get it. What you get is sex, then babies, who's a baby daddy, or who's going to take care of the baby, and all kind of stuff. But you never get that love you're looking for. You get deception, Like some people believe anything, no matter how wrong it is. They still act like it's not. So it says if you are abusing your authority, you must learn how to stop being abusive. And they said you gotta learn how to do. Don't expect somebody else to do what you should be doing yourself. All right, definitely amazing, an amazing natal chart. Now, if anybody else would like the natal chart done, we do anything that's paranormal. We do the cards. We do angel cards. We do all kind of readings. Really, anything that's paranormal, we do. We do research because some people want to know information. We do research services. So we do that. If you don't already have our services offered and priceless, you can always request it. Also, we have two different offers. We have the newsletter. You get 12 newsletters a year. I think right now that's $12. Or you could just join our other location. That's total $20, but you get the newsletter. So it's really only $8 because you get a newsletter. And we just deal with just more realer stuff. Just more. So any other questions may be in the description box. But either way, like I said, you could always contact me or just get the services offered and priceless. Alrighty, that's it. God bless.